Hey there, hi. Today's a good day to fix something and help a stranger in the process. Let's go! Before we start today, I want to say thank you to iFixit, our sponsor for the day who makes this whole thing possible. Now, let's get to some wonderful questions and learn something new.
I need Mercury Stardust assistance. Hubby's out of town. And water company just stopped by to let me know that we're showing a significantly high water usage, and finally figured out after about half an hour of searching to see what it could be that number one culprit everyone first mentioned is the damn toilet, only to realize that the damn toilet is like overflowing. I'm not really sure if that's the problem, but let me point it out to you. So this little pipe here, water is constantly going down this pipe. I do currently have the water turned off, but when it was on, it was falling down into the pipe. My other toilet, it's not doing that. So Mercury, how do I fix this? Help, please.
First things first, what you think is wrong is not necessarily wrong. First, the other toilet, the one you're not actually showing us, that one actually might have a problem with it because that tube is called a refill valve, and a refill tube rather. And that refill tube goes right down an overflow tube, and that prevents overflows. And so you want to make sure that you correct the other one and make sure that one is going inside the tube. But what I'm going to do is walk you through the anatomy of the toilet and kind of try to pinpoint what I think the problem is. And there could be several. So let's get a little messy and find out something new. First things first, let's talk about anatomy of your toilet tank. Now, you will see that this is just your tank. The toilet part is down here on the floor. But we're just going to focus on the tank, okay? Now, if we look inside this tank, we can kind of see all the various parts that we got going on. You've got your fill valve that brings all the water in, and that fill valve releases all the water down here. But this is called your refill tube. The refill tube goes right into your overflow valve, and that sucks right down in there, and water goes on out through here. But that's how everything functions in here. Down here is what's called your flapper. Now, you believe that your refill tube should not be inside this right here, but you would be incorrect. It needs to be inside here. In fact, your other toilet that doesn't have this inside of it, that one's wrong. That can lead to a toilet from actually overflowing. So that's important to solve that one right away. But the problem that you're having is that this is just bringing in a lot of water. This is called your refill valve. And your refill valve has a float on it, okay? And this float tells you how high the water needs to be. You can adjust it by just adjusting the top part right here. But these wonderful refill valves can go bad over time. So what you want to do is go underneath the toilet and turn off the water that's coming in. Disconnect the tube from here, like that. And then go underneath your tank and take this off. We're going to be using an adjustable groove joint pliers like this. And we're going to put it right on there and just loosen it up enough to spin off the nut. You're going to have another supply line that's attached to this, and you can just take the supply line off and then take this nut off with it. Now, we can go inside of here and pull this right out. And you can replace this for a pretty affordable price. You can replace these at about $10, $15, $20, and a lot of them are universals. Sometimes if you have a Toto or you have some type of other really common, like a Zern toilet in your home, then what you could do is go and get the specific part for your toilet and make sure it's going to work. But usually a universal refill valve would do just fine. And if you are concerned about anything else not working in here, I will highly recommend replacing it as well. One thing you may want to look at is your flapper right here. Underneath your flapper is a gasket. Sometimes flappers are all rubber themselves. And calcium and lime buildup can build up right underneath here. And then it doesn't want to seal properly. So that means that the flapper is telling the refill valve to keep bringing water in. I gotta keep pushing it out. I'm not closing. So it thinks it's not doing its job, and then it's telling the refill job to do its job wrong. And you just have this cycle that keeps going back and back and forth. So that may be the problem. You replace the flapper first, then you go back to the refill valve and you replace that, and all of that should solve your problem, okay?
Hey Mercury, I had a question for you. I have some IKEA floating shelves that I'd like to put up in my apartment. The brackets for the shelves, due to the spacing and size, won't all screw into the studs. I was wondering how you might recommend installing them. Thanks in advance for any thoughts. There shouldn't be an issue putting these up. I just wanted to make sure I'm doing it right so they don't fall.
Oh, what a wonderful little thing. First and foremost, I always recommend making sure you can get at least one side into a stud. That's going to make it a little bit stronger, and it's also going to make it a little bit less scary, right? If you're putting just like 5-10 pounds on it on a regular basis, maybe not a big deal. But if you got a cat who likes to pounce on things, maybe you might have more of a problem. So I'm going to show you 2 different wall anchors that work in both drywall or plaster and lathe that might be able to help you down the road, and maybe we'll help you with this, okay? So let's get a little messy and find out something new. Now, since we're talking about hanging things on a wall, I'm going to use this little bracket to demonstrate 2 different wall anchors that you could use to make this happen. We're going to go right here where I know there's not a stud, and I'm going to mark off my spots where I want to put the anchors. And now I'm going to show you the 2 anchors that I recommend. First and foremost, this is what we call an EZ anchor. That's the letter E and a letter Z anchor. This can be put into the wall without any drill whatsoever. A drill does make it a whole lot easier, but you can do this with a Phillips screwdriver, and I'm going to show you that right now. You put the Phillips screwdriver right in its slot right here, and you take it and you put it right in the target area, and you just apply pressure and you spin as you apply pressure. And boy, that is in there nice and good. Now, we have this screw. And in just a moment, I'm going to take the screw, go through the bracket, and put it into this slot, okay? But before we do that, I'm going to show you the second wall anchor that might make your life a little bit easier. See, this wall anchor is great. I love it. Super easy to use. You don't need a drill. It helps a lot of people. But it doesn't take up a whole lot of surface area. If we go behind the wall, the flanges are basically the only thing that holds it into the wall. It is pretty sturdy, but if you bent it the wrong way, it's going to widen open that hole. There isn't a whole lot of surface area that it's holding on to. But the next drywall anchor will do that. The next one we're going to want is a toggle bolt wall anchor. Old friends of mine will know that I talk about this all the time. I love this one because of how much surface area it grabs behind your wall. But you will need a drill for this one, and we're going to use a very large drill bit to get this through the wall. So that is a pretty big downside by using this one. But we're going to go right where we desire it to go, and we're going to go ahead and drill. Now we're going to take it and wiggle it right on through. If it's pushing hard against you, that's good. You want the hole to be basically the size of it. And make sure that the butt of it, the back of the head of the alligator, is pointing towards in the wall and the mouth is facing towards you. And then you pop it right through the wall when you have it through the bracket. So let's put this all together and then I'll show you exactly how it works. First things first, we're going to take the long bolt of the toggle wall anchor and we're going to thread it right in here. And then we're going to take it and put it on the edge of it. Now we want to make sure that the tip of the bolt is just through it, so the toggle bolt wall anchor can't tip when it's inside the wall. You don't want it to be just an edge like this because it can go sideways and then that's not going to do its job. So we want to make sure it's just about that to get all the way through the wall. Now we're going to take this And we're gonna slide it through that hole. Again, it's okay if it's fighting you. You don't want it to be loose at all. And now we're gonna pop it right through, and you're gonna see it spring in the back. You're gonna see it pop through, and then grab the wall, just like that. Now you're ready to screw it in. Before we tighten this one up, we're gonna do this one up here. And I'm just gonna drill it right in there. While that's also happening, I don't want this to be too tight because I want to be able to have pressure in the back. If there isn't any pressure to the alligator mouth, it's not going to do its job. It's not going to want to spin forward. So we're going to grab it like this, and we're just going to get it to tighten. And just like that, it's going to bring itself right to the spot you want it to be. And we're going to do this top too. Be careful not to strip it like I might have. And now this is pretty solid. Now I would put both of them as you talk about wall anchors. I think that's going to be the strongest option. But if you don't have drills, or if they're intimidating, or this hole maybe might show. If you come in here real close, you will see that this hole is just big enough, just small enough to be covered up by the bracket. If you have a really thin bracket like this, you may not be able to do this because you might see the hole behind it. So keep in mind, be aware of those things when you're using this product. But I do love this product, and this will definitely hold on most areas, but not all. I think we learned a few things today. We learned that sometimes what we think is wrong isn't always wrong. And sometimes even the most experienced person does something kind of silly. And that's okay. We'll learn at our own pace, and some things just don't go the way we want it to. It doesn't mean that we're bad at what we're doing. It just means things happen sometimes. And I hope you don't beat yourself up, because I'm not gonna. Now remember, you're worth the time it takes to learn a new skill. Have a good day. Take care, and bye-bye. Hey there, hi. Today's a good day to help us out. Always the first one. How did I miss that? Oh, I went through the wrong. Hold on. That's great. That is hilarious. I don't know if you saw what I did, but I put all this on the long side instead of the short side. Whoops.